I'm more than a football player, man. I'm a real person. It ain't about the football. I know how to do that. I spend it out there in the desert. This is my life.
Look, my bitches all bad, my niggas all real. I ride in thick in some big tall hills, big fat checks, big large bills, burn out flip like 10 car wheels, cold ass bitch. I give raw chills, 10 different looks, so my lips all kill. I kiss them in the mouth, I feel all.
Hello and welcome, football fans, to the 4333, the Hawk Sports Network. We are here live in Big Lake. Gonna break down some fantasy football today. I'll introduce myself as Schrute Farms in the East Division, 0-0 right now record-wise. I'm joined here by my co-host, Big Ben.
Not as big anymore, but we'll go with it.
The Andrew Luck Memorial, that's the team name.
May he rest in peace. Shout out AB, by the way, too.
And the one and only
Chubby's
Stiffy Patrol. What we're going to kind of do today is dive into some football talk at the end of the day. Little fooling around, but this will go on probably once a week, I think. Maybe get a couple podcasts here or there if there's bigger news, a couple suspensions, injuries, big trades in our league. But we really want to focus on our league.
Yeah.
Dive into the matchups. That's the real kind of focus here. The teams. But we'll do some other sports talk, maybe some fantasy hoops here or there.
Fantasy baseball season's coming to an end.
March Madness.
Right. But what we're going to start today, we're going to kind of go through some reaction to the draft. We'll start by going through each team, a couple of things we like. Not very biased either. That's what you're going to like about 4333, the Hawk. There's not a lot of biased takes. It's a lot of straight-up opinions. A lot of those other networks, a lot of biased takes.
This is a very serious podcast.
Very serious. Now, I have a cold. I'm battling through that. We'll see if I can get through the end here. But like I said, we're going to hop right into the reactions to the draft. So what I want to bring up to my counterparties today is we're going to bring up each team. Starting, I'm looking right here at the newcomer. This is the East Division. In my opinion, probably the strongest division in the league.
I'm in that division also. So.
I would say that's not true.
Okay, and there might be some discussion where it gets a little heated.
There's no bias in this tie. Come on.
Straight up.
We're very open to phone calls, reader reviews. We might have
if you want to text us or tweet us.
Yes.
Follow
us.
BL ties. Shout out BL ties.
But let's hop right into it. So, like I said, we're going right at the newcomer first. I want some reaction to his team. I believe it's Jackson Anderson, Big Jax we call him, back from college. Couple takeaways from his draft. Do we like it?
Okay, I like Zeke and I like Hopkins. I do not like Kenyon Drake. But other than that, I kind of like his team a lot. Started off pretty nice with the Bears Z. Kind of a bold play against the pack, but, got a few sacks, Like the depth. Overall, I just don't know about his secondary players other than his two big ones. But other than that, he didn't really spend that much money or made really any bad picks. So having two studs really and just building around him throughout the year would really help. I think overall.
Yeah, I like the team as well. I think Sony Michel or DJ Moore are kind of they could be hit or miss.
They're crucial to him.
They were good. Well, Sony Michel was. DJ Moore's still kind of a question mark. So if he can have a couple of his bigger or pieces around Zeke and Hopkins fill in, I think his team's going to be solid. But, Fitzgerald and Robbie Anderson on the bench, too, and Sutton, those guys are...
I'm very high on Robbie Anderson this year.
I think he's very suspect. I think, Cortland Sutton could be a good player for him. Big-time guy that could step up in his new role this year and honestly could turn that team around if he needs him at a flex.
So overall, we're thinking his draft not horrible. I don't think he won himself the league, but I don't think he lost it either in the draft.
Is he a contender or pretender for the playoffs?
That's a good question. I think he, at this point, I would say contender in my opinion.
I agree. I think Hopkins really makes him a contender. Just the starting lineup in general. He needs one of those bench players to step up, and he's the real deal.
Yeah.
Contender, too.
I would say contender. So we're all on board for a contender. We'll stay in that division. We'll go to my team, Schrute Farms, then. I know everyone's kind of excited about that team. Let's hold ourselves back. I'll let you guys start first. Reactions to that.
I'll let you go first, Ty.
All right, well, I think to start the year, tough week one. Tough start with the Packers, but Aaron Jones, really like him. Big big time player for this team. You could have a tough upside. The upside's just limitless with him if he can get back to a year or two ago. Pre-weed,
Pre-weed.
But Devontae Adams, he's going to be clutch for him. Rodgers, Juju is the guy I'm really loving on this team. Overall, could be there. I think he's got to make a move down the road to really get in that playoff contention overall, though. What do you think, Luck?
Okay, I thought it was Memorial, but anyway, continuing. I like it. I don't like having 3 players in the same team on my team, especially a team that plays the Vikings twice and the Bears twice. Not to mention the Lions twice. Great defense over there in Detroit. But overall, don't love the team, don't hate it. Schrute Farms.
Thank you.
Got the probably the best pick of the draft in my opinion, Tyler Boyd at $5. But you aren't gonna be starting him overall each week, so more than likely. So it kind of hurt your draft because it happened so late. You don't really have great depth at running back, but I think, like Ty said, you can definitely make a trade. I think you could definitely move into contention, but right now, I'm just gonna jump right into it. You're a pretender, man. Sorry, buddy.
Ouch.
I think he's a pretender unless he makes. If AJ Green is actually hurt for a while, I think Tyler Boyd could be crucial for him and gets him that lift he needs in the league. But right now, he's a pretender.
Big fan of Justice Hill. Great running back.
I was just trying to stack the running back position at the end of the draft. I don't really have much to say about my draft, honestly. I was more kind of I kind of just ran out of there's no running backs left to draft. So I was like, well, I'm screwed. So I just kind of went to the idea of I'm just going to try to draft as many good players as I can at this point. Yeah, it's 6 receivers, 5 receivers. I'd say I'm probably on the outside looking in right now of the playoffs as a pretender. A couple moves down the road could put me into that contention. I'll probably win week 1, but we'll see from there. So we're going to stay in that division, correct? The East Division.
Yes.
Hold on, are you a contender or a pretender?
I said pretender. I said the outside looking in at this point.
Pretender,
so we're all on board with that pretender.
We're on the same page with a lot of this stuff. I love it.
Right. We're going to stay in the East Division. That is with Big Benji as well, or the Andrew Luck Memorial team. We'll jump right to his team. Quick reaction to his draft. Tyler.
No,
Chubbs. Huge fan of Deshaun Watson. Gonna have a good upside this year. I think overall having a stud at each position between running back, receiver, and tight end is overall going to help him just boost his team throughout the league this year. A little suspect on the Tariq Cohen play. The PPR thing. It's whatever. It's under the bridge at this point. But team has some depth. Trubisky, that's a fluke for him. He's going to come back. He's going to play well this year. I'm very happy with the team overall. And you, Schrute, what do you think?
Right. So I like Ben's draft, or Andrew Luck Memorial's draft. Tyreek Hill got for a really good rate. I think under $50 was
48,
one of the
48.
Right. And he could ideally be, a top 1, 2, 3 wide receiver. That's a great pick in my opinion. The only thing with his team, I'm looking like Marlon Mack and Cohen, but he does have Kamara anyways. That'll be in his running back. He'll be his RB1. But if Mack or Cohen can put up 10 to 15 a week, this ideally could be a top team in the league.
True. What do you think of Kamara this year? What's his ceiling overall? You think he's top back, or where are we going with him?
Right. Well, a lot of talk out of New Orleans. Sounds like they're still going to use, the same system they did with Ingram. So I think that still kind of caps where he's at, but no problem with him being a top 5 back, especially with PPR. I think he'll be there. This team, in my opinion, will be a contender. We'll go to Ben quick to rag on his team.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I don't
It is your team.
Don't really have that much to add. Other we said about the running back depth isn't quite there. After Thursday night, which was a great game, by the way, just a shootout. Cohen didn't really play much running back. He had 1 step at running back, and he got 1 carry that was called back on the penalty.
Right.
So he's playing receiver, which does play into the whole PPR aspect. I know it's a controversial thing that someone's getting points in a point per reception league.
Right.
So 8 for 49 is not a great selling, but if I get that every week out of him, that'll be good. Not a huge fan of Marlon Mack, but again, just other than top running backs, it seems like the depth of running back is very deep this year, but it's almost like Mack seems to be good, but he's a lot further down like those top like 15, I think.
Right. But he had a couple of like big games last year that was like, okay,
Yeah,
maybe
for
he
sure.
could be a top 15.
But overall, I love the team. Just don't need Hill to get suspended. I think, contendering.
So we got
Contendering.
3 contenders again.
And I also think the Andrew Luck pick at the end of the draft was a steal.
Well,
Deep sleep.
It's a sleeper.
I mean, if he comes back, I'm not going to knock it. We're going to stay in that division, rounded up with the Drogans Dracaries.
Can I say he's a pretender based on the team name, or no? Kind of.
I will take that. We got one pretender ready.
It's the Hawk. You can say what you'd like.
This is the Hawk. With him, I'll start with that team, though. I mean, the draft, questionable. We're all in agreement. I don't know why we're spending $40 on 2 quarterbacks.
Oof.
That
Those are the 2 most expensive quarterbacks that were taken in the draft. It's crazy to think about. Only two double-digit quarterbacks that were taken all the entire draft.
right. So if Sam wants to call in and defend his pick, we're more than welcome to. We'll welcome that. We'll argue with him.
Yeah,
but I think that was
welcome all nationalities, genders, and sexual orientations.
right. No, we don't. But I think that could go down as one of the worst, like that combination, $40 on a quarterback combo when you can only start one quarterback, probably will go down as one of the worst takes from the draft.
It's Goff. I mean, who knows where he's going this season? He's been doing well. What's he going, year 3, year 4?
Year 4. He just got a big extension.
But are you ever starting him over
Mahomes?
Mahomes? No.
Never.
So you just drafted a quarterback for $20 for your bye week?
Actually, it was 18.
Is it trade bait? Is he trying to think that drafting him at 18, we could probably give him at 5? You can trade him for some value? I don't know.
I rag on Doc a lot. He's a smart dude when it comes to like sports.
I think he'll make some moves. I think he knew what he was doing. But looking at this team quick, a couple of questions, like Montgomery, Fournette, T.Y. Hilton. In my opinion, those 3 guys are kind of going to score the majority of his points, or ideally Doc would want them to. And I think they're all 3 kind of question marks. Even with like Diggs, he's injury prone. Fournette, same way. So if you're relying on those guys, I don't know if I really like that.
I would go like those 2 running backs with Mahomes instead of T.Y. I think T.Y.'s going to be inconsistent. We saw it with Brissett the year that he started. T.Y. would go off for, I think he had like a 200-yard game beginning of the year that year, and then like didn't like basically. He's injury prone too, so you can add that in there as well.
Oh, Leonard Fournette too. He's a 1/2 kind of guy, and then he'll sit out 3 weeks and he comes back. I'm just not.
Yeah, sure. What do you think about Leonard Fournette? Do you want to get your thoughts on Leonard Fournette?
I don't really like Leonard. I
don't.
drafted Leonard. We're friends, but fantasy football wise, I don't
Leonard
trust
Fournette's
him.
a friend of
I don't
the
trust the man.
Friend of the podcast.
I don't trust the man. I'm going pretender.
Pretender
based on the team name alone.
So we're all in pretty much agreement with these teams overall. We're going to now go to the next division, starting with top, bottom.
Oh,
that's the West
God.
division. The boys out west here, kind of the hippies.
They have the late game usually.
They usually have the hippies. We're starting top, bottom. Quick reaction. Big Bench.
Kind of a weird draft. Usually, Con always has a great draft. But overall, I don't really hate the team. He has a lot of like kind of guys that aren't really. I want to say like not like proven, but like for example, I mean Nixon's proven. Like it's only like his 3rd year. He had a great year last year. Guys come out with an ACL injury. Cup coming out with an ACL injury.
Yeah, who
Godwin,
is this Juice guy?
Geis, hey, great player out of I think LSU. Toward ACL last year. In his rookie year. Was Matthew Berry's ride or die, but then obviously with the torn ACL, you can't play with only one knee, so he didn't play. But anyway, so guys, like I said, torn ACL, Cup torn ACL. Godwin hop into a bigger role this year with them trading Humphreys and, not trading, I think they let Humphreys go, but trading Deshaun Jackson as well. I mean, Ertz is pretty proven. Josh Jacobs is a rookie as well. So, I mean, it's kind of like a lot of like guessing with him. So I think it's like potentially a team that could be really like not that great or could be great based off of like, like the upside that his team has. Overall, I think having Ertz kind of helps a ton because it's like having a tight end like solidified, especially in PPR, someone like Ertz who gets a ton of catches, a ton of yards and all that will really help like take away from maybe not like the superstar power that he's lacking overall, I think. So for me, I think he's kind of a contender just because Con always seems to be.
It's got to be he is a contender or
He's
not.
100% a contender. It's
Okay.
good, because I think Con's a smart dude. Like I rag on him a little bit. He's got a nice job. I don't know if he has a good house yet. honestly, Con.
He has
got
a
a good
very
car, man.
eco-efficient car.
We
Equal-
can't
equal
though. We
efficient
can't. He's the commissioner. You can't talk good about him though. All the
I
time.
mean, here's the thing. I've had my issues with Con, but I can put that aside. This is a non-biased, very, very serious podcast.
Thank you.
Right.
433
The Hawk.
the Hawk. Anyway,
I don't
I'll
mind
cover
this
the
team.
truth.
Okay, but I like Cooper Kupp a lot.
Oof, yes.
Love white receivers.
If he can stay healthy, great pick there. I like Hurts. I love that combination there. But then his running backs, in my opinion, questionable. Josh Jacobs, we got Juice, and then Mixon's pretty good. So I will say this team, in my opinion, is a contender because I like Will Fuller on the bench as well as Samuels. I'm going to send it over to Chubby's.
I like Kupp. He's a good receiver. Overall, you just gotta hope he comes back to where he was last year. before the
Tyler, where did
injury.
you go to college? Out of
I
curiosity.
think it was Eastern Washington. He
Hey.
did tear up NDSU. Shout out Con for drafting him still. No bias. He looking at the roster, he needs to bank on some guys to pick it up this year. A lot of rookies. Mixon's gonna be a dog. Kupp, well done. And Ertz, I'm just not happy with the squad. I think he has a lot of trade pieces, but as of now, I'm gonna definitely put him as a pretender.
Okay.
Wow.
No bias, too, because
I love
they're
it.
in the same division.
So I was a contender, pretender, and
I was contender. I like his team. I don't think the commish really liked his draft, but when you look at it, I mean, you take a step back, I don't think his team's that bad.
Who was his top paid for player here? Was it Mixon?
it was definitely Mixon. Mixon went for about 50. I bet he went
Oh.
for $54.
I don't love that. I'm not a fan of that.
Okay.
That is high. We're staying in that division. We're going to the one and only Stiffy. We're going to Stiffy Patrol here. I'll start with this team again. I feel like I've been leading off most of these, so I'll just keep that rolling. I like this team. The obvious fact, it's Gurley, it's McCaffrey. I think if Gurley stays healthy, that's a very good pick. Did you draft him for round 50, 55?
52, 54, I believe.
When ideally he should go upper 60s, obviously. So him and McCaffrey paired together, PPR. I mean, that's gonna give you about 40 points a week, ideally. Receiver wise, I like the Galladay, Cooks. I don't know about Juice Landry, but I think PPR wise, he'll get his 5 catches for 50 yards. That's all you really need from him. So this team, I will go contender. We'll go to Stiffy himself.
Before that, White Claw is our sponsor, so
No laws without the claws.
no laws. I agree with what was said there. Gurley is big to this team. If Gurley can't pick it up this year, and if he's not healthy, although they're saying he has no snap count, if he doesn't play at his ability, it definitely hurts his team. Landry, I'm interested to see overall. He is definitely a wild card with the team as far as Njoku. You got OBJ clearly.
I like Green too, sitting on your bench.
Green
I
could
mean,
be
if he plays half the year and puts up numbers, I think that's a good pick there. So.
Green is vital to the team if one of those receivers struggles, definitely. Very interesting selections at the receiver position, but they definitely have a good upside overall. I'm obviously not biased, but I'm very happy with the team, and I'm going to say contender.
Ooh. Should I go now?
Yes, Memorial.
Oh, am I up? Okay.
Memorial, you can get us wrapped up here.
Completely unbiased here. Don't love the team, don't hate the team. Throwing out shout out Matthew Berry for the love hate, play I just did right there. Gurley, is obviously the biggest factor, like you said. They do say he's not on a snap count, but that's what they said all at like the playoffs. He didn't play.
What do you think his usage would be here, Memorial? What do you think there?
A lot of touchdowns, maybe not as many yards. I don't think he's being involved in the passing game as much as he was in the past couple of years, because I think that knee arthritis ain't a joke.
Nope.
I am a doctor, but anyway, continuing. Don't love the receivers, but I do love McCaffrey. I think just having a top player that you can have in your lineup every single week, I think makes you a contender just by having that, because you're going to get people throughout the year. Landry, I think, will be fine. Galladay was very inconsistent last year, so hopefully he can pick it up for you. Cooks was really good last year too. He's very under the radar, very very good, top 20. AJ Green, I don't think it's gonna be a factor for you this year, honestly.
Do you think he'll be back on this team, or?
I think he'll be back, but I think he's gonna get hurt immediately because it's AJ Green.
Okay, so
But
you're saying
I'm saying
after all
I'm
that-
saying contender though, because McCaffrey's a beast, and Gurley, like, he's gonna get you at least 15 a week. So I know, like, you gotta be happy with that. So
you got a contender as well. We're going now to the bin, the recycling bin that is.
tough start.
Break down his draft. Go.
I would say that he spent all his money on 3 players. I don't know if they were the right 3 players. Obviously, I like Thomas, I like Julio. Not a big fan of DJ. I think it's just a bad offense overall. It just seems like, kind of how I was saying with Newcomer, he kind of spent all his money on 2 players, but he had decent depth besides those 2.
I think this team's kind of the opposite.
This one, 3 top players, and then kind of didn't have much depth like around him, especially like, for example, we started some guy named Geronimo Allison, and he didn't.
I think they call him Gmo.
They call him Gmo.
In Green Bay.
Out in Wisconsin there. He started 2.1% of leagues, and he put up 0 points without a target. Overall, I think that's going to be the story of his team this year. He's going to need those 3 players to like go off each week, I think, to win.
So contender or pretender?
I'm gonna say pretender for now. But I'm gonna say Prim's a smart dude as well when it comes to fantasy. So I wouldn't be surprised that a few weeks when we do this segment again that he hops into contender.
Okay. I like that. I'm on the fence about the picking like 3 studs or 2 studs in a draft. I think if you do it right, ideally for this team, it wouldn't be David Johnson in there. I think it would have been a McCaffrey or maybe even a Gurley if you could have got someone like that. Then I would have liked his team. I don't hate the team. I mean, obviously you have those 3 big guys. If they can each score 20 a week, you're going to be fine. But if one of them doesn't do that, I don't like that at all. I will go pretender at this point just because there's a lot of question marks with those role players around them. Stiffy.
Just look at the team. David Johnson, I think he's going to get a good workload this year just with the rookie quarterback overall.
I mean, he got a good workload last year too.
Well, I think he's going to be back to his normal form this year. Julio, big contract. You saw from Matthew Berry this morning. It's there. Michael Thomas, love him obviously. So the big 3 are good. Russell Wilson, I think, is the guy he's going to have to bank on. And the big sleeper that I'm very happy that he picked as, not biased, but I wanted him, James Washington. Look for him to step into a big role in Pittsburgh this year. Other than that bench, I'm very worried about that bench aside from James Washington.
I'm a big fan of Peyton Barber this year, by the way.
I will never take Peyton Barber again in the league. I hate him.
I will say about one thing about Prim's team too. I think he's gonna be fine at the beginning of the year. I mean, obviously, I think this week he's kind of looking a little bad with Geronimo putting him 0. Michael Thomas, it seems like, in the Saints passing offense is like a whole throughout the year seems to start off really hot and then fade as the year goes as it gets colder. So I think it'll be kind of a big thing for him to build his team throughout the year.
Do you think James Washington steps into that role? Assuming, Ellison this week. Look at that 0. I think Washington.
I think it's gonna be a while in the season, but I think he will. I think Big Ben hates James Washington for reasons I can't explain.
Well, he is short. He's about 5'10".
So
great hands though.
Great hands.
240. So
Oklahoma.
You can't go wrong.
At Oklahoma State, he was up for one.
So I'm
receivers.
A pretender. Sherman pretender. Stiffy.
Definitely a pretender.
Definitely pretender.
Not close.
4th team in that division.
It is the touchdowns rounding up the West Division. Probably won't finish there this year. I don't think. I'm looking at this team here with the draft. A couple question marks, but that's usually to be expected with the touchdowns. Sometimes he has a couple views that the rest of the league does. Tom Brady and Kyler at quarterback. Obviously, we've all raised concerns there. Le'Veon Bell, in my opinion, went a little bit high. Adam Thielen, I don't know. If he puts up his 100 catches there, I think that's a good draft pick, a good, amount of money spent on him. If you didn't put a ton of money into him, if you can get him as a top 10 receiver, I think that's a great pick. This team, though, at this point, definitely a pretender.
I will say this. Downs has had much worse drafts. I'll say that out loud, for one. But having Kyler at quarterback, I think, is going to be a huge factor. I think Kyler's the type of guy who could throw for 200 yards in a pick and put up 6 points and cost him
couple fumbles.
I like Mark Ingram. I think Baltimore's gonna be kind of more of a committee because they have Justice Hill. Shout out Mike.
Juice Hill, we call him.
Juice Hill, and they got Gus Edwards. I don't know if they still have Alex Collins. May he rest in peace. But Le'Veon Bell went for a lot more than I think he should have. But I still think he's going to be fine, a good player. Thielen, I love Thielen, obviously. Jeffrey, I do not like this year at all. I think they have way too many mouths to feed in that offense. Obviously, Nikhil's going to help. Henry is a wild card, too. Obviously, if he's like anywhere close to where he was at the end of last year, that's a great pick. Overall, now I'm going to go kind of bold on this one.
Nah, you got to pick one.
I'm going to go kind of bold on this one. I'm going to say he's a contender because of the main reason, like I said, having like very good players at each position, having your tight end solidified, like in terms of it just helps so much with not having like all those stars, and like he also needs Le'Veon to be a stud. So if he's a stud, I'd say he's a contender. But so I'm just gonna say he's a contender.
Okay.
You know.
So we're 1-1. Are we 1-1 so far with contender pretender?
Yep. So you'll have to break the tie.
You know, I'm very concerned about Kyler Murray, but overall, I'm very happy with the Le'Veon Bell. Even though we did pay a little too much for him, Downs. I like that he's gonna get his this year. I put him top 5, if not top 3 in backs this year.
He was
in
your
a
RB3
PPR.
this year, actually, according to our rankings that we all did.
Thielen,
On the Hawk.
I'm a Hawk.
Thielen, love that pick. Absolute steal. Kittle, great selection. Henry, I think he goes off early in the season. I look for him to fade second half of the season. I'm concerned with that Tennessee team. They don't like Henry for some reason. It's wild. But Ingram loses touches to Lamar. Overall, I think Downs, this might be one of your better drafts. Good team. Probably not going to win this week.
Why you're a contender?
This is a contender.
Wow.
You know, Downs, that's a solid selection. I'm happy for your
Now-
team. I hope you don't win this week, but going forward, best of luck. That's a contender, definitely.
Now we move to the Central, the Minnesota, KC, Detroit region.
Who do we
Shout
got?
out Twins.
Who do we got first here?
We got Pump
oh,
and Dump.
oh,
Initial thoughts on that, Benjamin.
Okay, well, I don't know what to think about this team because it's just kind of, I think it'd be kind of a wait and see because I think there's a lot of players who are kind of like, they could be great, but we don't know yet. I think Dalvin's going to be probably the biggest factor. I think a lot of people, including Colin Cowherd, big fan of the Herd, by the way, shout out the Herd. He thinks he's going to be a huge breakout this year, from his number 2 breakout player in the NFL this year. I think it's just all going to depend on health for Dalvin. I think he's one of the most talented backs in the league.
oh,
But-
wow, really?
Not biased.
You're gonna
Not
put
biased at all.
You're
Very-
putting him as one of the top backs, like
Not
top
backs,
5 or top 10.
I'm saying like in terms of fantasy, like regardless.
okay.
If I'm saying like NFL wise, just as a back, I think he's top 5. But anyway, continuing. It will also depend on health for him. I also depend on how the Pittsburgh backfield's going to shape out. I just don't. I like James Conner as a dude. I just don't think he's that good at football. I mean,
oh, wow.
Okay.
and I mean that just being as nice as possible. I think that backfield for Pittsburgh is always going to be like super good just because of that old line and obviously the passing game. Keenan, I think is going to be fine. I think so is Edelman. OJ Howard, I think could step up big this year. Don't love Lindsey this year. It seems like that
wow.
they're like really leaning towards Royce Freeman as being a bigger factor this year. Overall, I don't think it's a horrible team. Not much depth at all. Like he has his handcuff for Dalvin, obviously, and then his next best player is arguably Dante Moncrief.
Think he's got to make some trades, or what are you thinking there?
I think look for Deebo Samuel
I think you
to
should
be
look.
a deep sleeper.
This is my bold prediction of the year. I think that Poe is going to trade with Downs this year. I know.
And we're unbiased here on the Hawk.
I'm unbiased at 433 the Hawk. But anyway, continuing.
So we a contender here.
I'm gonna-
We just spent 18 minutes on this guy's team
Pretender.
to go to a pretender.
Oh, wow.
Stiffy, give us one thought on Keenan Allen this year.
I love the pick. I love the team. He's going to get a big workhorse. Like, he's going to be a workhorse for that team. Just with Melvin gone, they got to be targeting him an extra 20 reps at least out there.
And it's going
Overall.
to be worked to death.
They go for 12 yards at 32.
Well,
He's going from 70
no, I'm
snaps
gonna say.
to 90.
I'm saying overall through the season, he'll get those extra passes his way.
Those targets we call them
Overall, I love his middle picks. Keenan Allen 40, Edelman 32, Lindsey 15, Big Ben for 1, which don't sleep on him. OJ Howard for 3. I love that pick. I'm definitely
here.
right.
We love this team.
He's a pretender.
wow.
No, he is definitely a contender. That's a good team, and I think he definitely will need to make a move with one of those players.
Shrewd.
Since he has no bench, but
Quick
good
thought,
team.
Shrewd.
I think this team, I'm going to say contender. I'm just going to say a lot of guys on his team, like his main 4 players, get hurt a decent amount, in my opinion. Cook, Connor, Connor a little bit. We don't really know much. But like Keenan, Julian Edelman. So look for one of them to be suspended, injured. But I'll say contender.
Moving on to Antonio Brown's a clown, a.k.a. Little Dicky Baller, a.k.a. Little Ruppy Baller.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to give the floor to Chubbs on this one and
Oh,
let him go at it, you know?
Dear, Moses. Sanders. Oy. Not a good pick. Shepard in the starting lineup. That's bad. It's not biased, but it's bad. James White, honestly, I don't mind him. I think that's a good pick because even with Sony Michel, he's going to get his catches. He's going to get his yards. Love Barkley. Ingram, he's going to have another good season. The thing I'm concerned about, 3 Baltimore starters, 3 New York Giants starters.
And 1 Detroit and 1 Denver.
I'm
all
not-
stout offenses. I love it.
Those,
Great offenses.
I'm very concerned. This guy really has to hope for Antonio Brown to sign a deal. If he signs a deal, maybe a chance. Right now, extreme pretender.
I'll throw it to you, Shrew.
I mean, we're all kind of in agreement with this team. You got guys on not good teams that aren't going to score a lot. It's tough for your fantasy team to put up a lot of points. Obviously, Barkley is going to be a stud. But the thing that really hurts this team, it's Brown and Gordon. When you're spending $60, $70 on 2 players that could maybe not even play the whole year, obviously that stinks. But you're taking a risk when taking Gordon. But Brown is just kind of one of those unfortunate occurrences. The team's a pretender. If Brown does go somewhere and plays, what he usually does, I think could be a contender, but for sure pretender. What do you got?
I'm going pretender for sure. Mainly just because we don't know when Melvin's going to come back. I think he will for sure be back, but it could be as late as week 10 because there's no point in him sitting out because the team has so much control over him for the next few years because he only has 2 years left on his contract. I think it only hurts for him to be not play obviously. The depth takes a huge hit with Brown and Gordon, obviously with horrible offenses. Having the starting players in bad offenses is just it's a recipe for just bad stuff.
You can take every Chiefs player or Packers player.
Every Chiefs or Vikings, not Packers player, based off of Thursday. Just saying. Pretender for sure.
Gmo.
Moving on to the next team. I don't know who even knows in this division.
Let's go Trax. That's the other team in the Central Division.
We're not going in order. I love it. Team Trax.
We're staying in the Central, though,
yes.
which is Team Trax. When you look at this team and you say he had $200 to spend, who did he spend it on? I mean, I see Odell. That's about it. So, pretender for sure. At this point, obviously now, Josh Gordon, that is, if he plays well,
Cush.
Everyone's kind of been hoping on that for the last couple of years. Could squeak in there, but Freeman, question mark. Eckler, ideally should be there for a while until Melvin Gordon figures it out. But it was a stretch on Damian Williams, in my opinion, spending about 30 on him. That's tough for your team. That's what kind of
21 to be exact.
Oh, it was only 21. That's not that bad then. I thought it was closer to 30. But still, even 21 on someone that, hey, do we even know if he's going to play for them? He'll play a little bit, but they're going to spread the ball around in KC. I say pretender for sure on this team.
Yeah, I'm going to go pretender as well, mainly just because when your best running back is arguably Eckler, who is very injury prone, by the way, can really, really hurt you. Obviously, Freeman's injury prone as well. David Williams we don't know anything about before the end of last year. He's always been kind of a backup, so we have no idea what he's going to be like. Odell, obviously, I guess there's a lot of injury prone players. Now I'm looking at it, Freeman, Eckler, Beckham, all.
Tyler Lockett, kind of a question mark.
Tyler Lockett kind of had a big year last year, kind of maybe a little fluky in my opinion. There's no depth at all.
So pretender for you.
Pretender for sure.
Stiffy, I'm sure, is going to have some good input on this team.
Devontae Freeman's going to have to carry that team because I don't know I don't know what's happening with this draft. 54 on Odell, Not the worst because I think he's going to get his touches for sure. But you're relying on Devontae Freeman, Gordon, Eckler, Williams. I like Eckler and Williams, but I don't love them. And for that reason, I clearly got to go with your pretender.
You fake. Okay. The last team then that we got to go through in the Central to round up the draft, the Rick Rangers. Benjamin.
I like this team a lot. I'm not as high on it as some people in our league are, because I don't think running backs are everything, especially when you don't have, I think Chubb's really, really good, but kind of unproven. Carson's, I think, pretty good, but I think he's kind of, again, unproven, plus the injuries that he dealt with last year. I think Evans is a beast. Woods was very consistent last year, so I love that too. Darren Waller's kind of questionable, but Matthew Berry loves him, so he's got to be good. I do not like Kerryon Johnson whatsoever this year. For the main reason that I just don't think a dude could be that good if you're losing time to LeGarrette Blount.
Wow.
Is that a bold?
I think there's some concern with injury with him.
And concern with injury with him, he missed a lot of last year as well.
I mean, that's a tough division for Detroit, too, after, the three best defenses in the league.
Okay, two of the best. Obviously, the Packers and the Bears, like I said. But anyway, continuing. Having Rashad Penny on the bench, I think, will help him a lot, especially if Carson does get hurt. I think Penny's just better than Carson, maybe overall. But
look for CJ Pro-Size to die.
Pro-Size.
The Pro-Size.
He does have his bench is not deep, but no one has a deep bench in this league. He does have Carlos Hyde, shout out Chubbs, Stiffy Patrol over here.
Yep.
I'm gonna say contender just because I think he has the depth. I think he has too many good players to not be a contender.
Oh boy.
Stiffy's got a lot on this one.
I'm happy with the Mike Evans. I think you underpaid for him, so great job by you. That's an incredible draft pick at $43. Dude's an animal. Nick Chubb, like that. Carson, I'm a little worried about. Kerryon Johnson. With the history in Detroit, I can't be sold on that. But Robert Woods, animal. Overall, I'm concerned.
This guy's concerned. Just praise the team, now he's concerned. What's the concern?
I like some of the guys, but it's like
Pretender
you have a lot of guys that need to step up and be just above their ceiling. I'm putting you as the closest pretender to the playoffs.
All right, I will. Well, this is my concern on this team. I don't think Mike Evans is as good as we think he is. Last year, was he a top 10 receiver?
Yes.
What are we talking?
Wide receiver, it was 7 or 8.
Started hot. Definitely started hot.
Was there injuries? Shoot. I think there's injuries.
Well, I'm just saying, 2 years ago, wasn't very good, but he didn't have Jameis the whole year, obviously. Correct.
Yeah, Fitzmagic.
This year didn't play great with Fitzmagic, correct? But then last year.
No. It was the opposite.
Or was it vice versa?
He was great with Fitzpatrick the first 3 weeks, and then he kind of fell off a little bit, then came back. But my argument against that would be that 2 of their top weapons are gone now.
Adam Humphries
and Deshaun Jackson, they're their biggest deep threat.
Well, they still have Godwin, so let's remember that. And O.J. Howard back from the injury. They did sustain.
Evans.
I don't like Evans this year. Robert Woods too. I think with Cooper Kupp back for the whole year does not do what he did.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
He had 20% target share, whatever that crazy stat ESPN pulls up last year, but Cooper Kupp didn't play most of the year, so I don't think one of those 3 Rams receivers isn't going to do as much as they did last year.
I think they have their own roles. I think Cooks is kind of more of the deep threat. I think Cooks is going to be fine.
Kupp scores a lot of touchdowns. Woods gets a lot of yards.
I know. God loves Kupp. Former roommates at college, by the way. Shout out.
They're white guys. They like each other. Whatever.
Okay, pretender or contender then?
I think this team's a pretender. A lot of people think they're a contender. I just like Kerryon Johnson, Chris Carson concern me. Both of those. Chubb's pretty good, but
I agree.
I mean, PPR doesn't get a lot of
Kareem Hunt
catches.
will be back in week 10, back for the playoffs.
That's true. Well, I just think there's not much depth to this team either. So his starting lineup does look pretty strong. I just think there's a couple guys with question marks. That's why I'm going pretender. That wraps up everything with the draft then. We just broke down probably for an hour's worth of every team. We're going to go in quickly to the upcoming matchups then.
And Ty, tell us about our sponsor for this matchup.
MyVegas.com. Great site, gambling. Get on there. Good airfare, good hotels, Please
See what $5 can do for you.
Yes.
But we'll do matchups each week. It's going to be a segment that is going to take us about 10 minutes. We're not going to sit down and just go through every single matchup of every single player.
We're just going to plug what the keys to the matchup are overall and who we think is going to win. And we're going to keep track of it every single week. And at the end of the year, whoever has the lowest amount of record owes the other two boys a case.
Of
White Claw.
Our sponsor.
The Claw. Here on the Hawk, we drink a lot of White Claw. But like I said, we'll jump right into the matchups first. We're going to go in a particular order where we're starting with Poe Top, Colin Bottom. This is the recycling bin Poe Top, Colin Bottom matchup in the West Division. Benji will start with what he's got and who he's got quick.
Okay, so two of the smartest dudes I know, like, you know, not like knocking wood or anything, but love
Knocking Boots.
Knocking Boots is a great song, but this is kind of a weird matchup. This is kind of like Allison didn't do anything, but like I don't think that's really gonna matter because I don't think we're expecting him to do anything regardless. Overall, I think Con has a little bit too much depth on Ben, especially with Julio playing Minnesota. Xavier Rhodes locks that dude down every single year. I just don't think, and I also don't think DJ's just gonna have. I think he's gonna start off a little slow, so I think overall. I'm going to go Con by a score of about 100 and because this PPR, so I got to kind of like figure out the points overall. So this might be a little bit of a slow start, but 120 to 107
for Poe Top.
Colin Bottom.
I'm kind of leaning the same way. I think Poe Top, Colin Bottom's got the win just because his team's more consistent. Yeah, it hurts that Allison scored 0, but I mean, in PPR, one player not scoring much is not going to hurt you. But I just don't see a lot out of the big three, David Johnson, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas being enough. I think this will be a lower scoring, like 110, 100 game, but Poe Top.
What do you think, Chubb Stiffy Pitcher?
Looking at, I think Cooper Kupp, he's going to go off this week, which therefore means Zerline has a great game. Overall, looking at...
I like the key. Zerline.
Julio, I only see him getting about 40 yards against Rhodes. Mixon's going to go off for Con. It's going to be about a 112 to 101, 102 matchup for Con.
So we're on board with Con.
3-0 for Con.
Yeah. 3-0 for Con. Where do you think we should go next, Mike?
We're going to the one and only Team Trax versus the Rick Rangers.
All right.
Okay, we'll start with Chubb since we ended with Chubb's last.
Just looking at paper, I'm really thinking Trax. He's going to catch some fire somehow. I'm not sure what way it's going to be, but I see. I just see he's got too many weapons overall. I'm taking Team Trax with a 125 to 121 victory over Rick Rangers. That's just all I got for it there.
I don't know. Like I kind of like ESPN's little thing here. It gives me a win probability of 51% for Rick. I think it's a little bit too low.
It's about 50-50, yeah.
Yeah, I think again, like we said before, Team Trax is kind of a wild card. All these players are kind of like you guys kind of see and wait with it. Overall, I'm gonna go with Rick because he's just a little bit of a safer pick. Honestly, has probably 4 players that are better than his best player, arguably. Because I'm just not quite as high on Odell as everyone else. But I'm going to go Rick Rangers, 115 to Trax. I think he's going to put up 90.
And swinging it back to Schrute Farms. Schrute, wrap it up. We got to split 1-1.
Schrute's got Rick Rangers in this one.
All right.
The reason being, I just think more consistent team when you're looking. I think if Odell has a really good game, which that Tennessee defense, don't sleep on them. They're not bad.
Great safety. Byard, great safety.
Their safety, big contract.
I think if Trax gets a big game out of Odell and Eckler, I think he has a chance here. But I think Rick Ranger 130 to 100. I don't think that matchup's very close.
Oh.
So you got 2-1 in that one. We're gonna go to pump and dump. Antonio Brown is a clown. I'll start with this one. I don't think this game's even close at all. As well, I think pump and dump's got 125. I don't think Antonio Brown is a clown gets to 100 this week. 125, 95. There's not really many keys to this matchup. It's just pump and dump's team's way better.
I agree with you there. It's ugly. I'm gonna put pump and dump at 115, and honest to God, I'm gonna put. Aside from Saquon Barkley, I don't know who's going to score in this team. It's rough. It's going to be 115 to about 90. Pump and dump is just going to throttle.
That's the Hawks throttle of the week.
Okay. You guys are going to say I'm crazy for saying this. You guys are going to say I'm crazy.
Matthew Berry, stop.
You got Giants and playing Dallas. I think that's gonna be kind of a little bit of a shootout. And the Baltimore, I was supposed to say the Orioles. The Ravens are playing Miami, probably the worst team in the NFL.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take my boy. It's not technically an upset because he's favored in this matchup. I'm taking Antonio Brown as a clown in an upset, 115 to 110.
115 to 110. Wow. Okay.
I think Saquon has a big week.
So that's your closest matchup of the week, ideally.
They've played tight games with the Giants and Dallas. I don't see that being a shootout, but all right.
So that's that for pump and dump and Antonio Brown as a clown. We'll go to my matchup next. I know everyone's kind of been salivating over this one, kind of the matchup of the week almost. But I'll start here. Obviously, Schrute Farms team not off to the greatest start. Couldn't expect much with the Packers playing the Bears. Ideally, I don't think if those players, the Packer players on Thursday night would have put up decent numbers, I think I have a chance in that one. So I'll go newcomer. I don't think he puts up a ton though this week either. I'm going 105. I don't think Schrute Farms puts up 90. I think like 85, 105, 85. Look for the key though in that one is to see what Zeke does. Does he get this full workload?
And
you know, if he doesn't, maybe that gives Schrute some chance, but I don't think there's much of a chance. I'll go newcomer.
And, you know, that's kind of where I was looking at this matchup. That Zeke, I see him going for 120, 2 touchdowns. I see this it's getting bad. All I gotta say is Sony Michel, Hopkins, and Elliott. Baker, I definitely see a pick from him and maybe 2 touchdowns. Not a spectacular game, but overall it's gonna be about 125-85 throttle.
Schrute, you're gonna lose him out a lot this week, and I mean in the nicest way possible, because I think that one thing that like maybe could play into it, like you said, you know what Zeke's gonna do. The Patriots and Steelers are kind of key in this matchup. That's Michelle versus Juju in this. Their games are always very low scoring for some reason. I don't know why. I think that could play into it if Michelle doesn't have a bunch of touchdowns and Zeke doesn't have that full workload like you said. That's the only way I really can see you winning. But I think that you lose 115 to 85.
Right, I'm thinking that 80 range, but we'll see. We're going to the Andrew Luck Memorial, Drogs Drockeries. That matchup, Ben, we'll let you start on your own matchup.
You know, I think the one big thing here is obviously he has Mahomes, but I think having his 2 top pass catchers in Hill and Kelsey really kind of counteracts that. I think with Montgomery not going off, kind of really puts a kind of a big hurt on his team overall, and especially Diggs being hurt. I did hear this on a different podcast that Diggs, when he's on the injury report going into a team, does significantly worse than he does when he's not on the injury report. So big shout out to the 0609 podcast on that one.
Not affiliated
with the Hawk at all. But I think just overall, I think I have a little bit of a better team. And as I said with Montgomery not going off, I think it's going to be a kind of closer matchup. I think 120 to 110.
You know, looking at this, kind of like Memorial said, it's just who has a better team. Montgomery underperformed. Fournette, we know we're only getting a half out of him. Diggs, he'll play. He's going to be a dog. Dede, I see him as a sleeper. He might get 12 to 15, which isn't great from your receiver, but it's not bad. But just looking at Memorial, that's a squad right there. Kamara's going to bring the heat. So is Hill. Oh, this is going to be about 117 to about 103 matchup, I think. 117, 103.
For Memorial,
he takes the win.
All right, I will. The only thing I think that could give, either team an advantage. If Mahomes isn't throwing his touchdowns to Hill and Kelsey, obviously gives him a huge advantage. If those touchdowns do go to those two, I don't think there's a shot in this one. But I am going to go Drogan's Jockery because I don't think I could see a lot of those screen passes to Damian Williams. Those big 50-yard touchdowns that way. I do like the D.D. Westbrook-Kansas City matchup. Kansas City's D usually gives up a ton of points. I'm going Drogan's Jockery. This will be a highest scoring game in the league, in my opinion. I will go 140 for Drogan's to 128. Andrew Luck Memorial goes down.
Completely unbiased podcast.
I'm the Hawk.
I'm the Hawk.
So what we're also going to do each week, we hadn't brought up, but we'll do the matchup of the week. Each week we'll select.
Oh, we missed the game in there.
Now this is going to be the matchup of the week for this week.
it is. Okay.
We're not missing it. I just wanted to plug the match of the week.
And I would like to plug our sponsor for the matchup of the week, Bud Light Orange. Light lager brew with real orange peels with natural citrus flavor. Drink up, boys.
Like
Shout out, Bud.
there's 3 grams of carbs in there.
Yeah, 3 grams of carbs. A lot of alcohol. There's more alcohol percentage than carbs in this thing, dude. Like all the gains in the world.
So the matchup of the week is going to be focused on we'll either do a specific two of the top teams record-wise,
or
could be a rivalry.
We all are friends here except for those 2 random teams that are in this podcast, But
Get 'em.
overall we got.
I'm friends with them though. It's a fantasy league.
And we're nothing against them. Just saying we're not friends with them. We all like hanging out. And
We
everything.
don't know them.
We don't know them. That's what I meant. So this is kind of a good match of the week because I think it's kind of more a personal rivalry than a.
Shots will be fired.
Than maybe the match of quality that will be. But I think a lot of SHIT talking because we are a PG podcast.
We're a podcast here. I'll start with this one since we've really hyped it up. I don't think this matchup's going to be anything. I don't think it's going to be that close for a matchup of the week, in my opinion. That's why it's more based off of the rivalry, the history with these 2 teams. I know maybe the touchdowns will say Stiffy never beats him, but Stiffy's team, when I'm looking at it matchup-wise, has way more playmakers than the touchdowns. We talked about the draft. I'm not a huge fan of Mark Ingram, in my opinion. Le'Veon Bell, who knows what he's going to do. Thielen could go off. We'll see. So I'm going Stiffy, though. I like McCaffrey-Gurley combination. I could see those 2 putting up 60 points combined. I'm going to go Stiffy 119. Do we do fractions or what decimals? We're going 119.7 to touchdowns 100.3. K-Fan.
Nice. We're not affiliated with them.
Memorial, what do you think of that? What's your take?
I don't mind it. Predators are a little off because Downs for some reason don't have a defense in yet, but
they are. Yeah, you're correct. He does have a defense on the bench.
I'm a little on the fence with this one because you know what, it wouldn't shock me for Ty to lose, but I think that the depth for Downs is just a little bit more there this week, especially with I think Juice Landry and Cooks and the Rams and Carolina matchup I think is going to be a shootout. So I like Cooks this week. I think that Cleveland Tennessee matchup is going to be kind of a low scoring game. I'm not spending much on Juice. I think the receivers in this game will be a little bit more of the factor in this one because I said with Diggs on the injury report, I think he's not going to be playing obviously that much. I think Thielen's going to go off this week. And I think the QBs, especially with Kyler, like I said, Kyler could cost you a week overall.
Yeah,
but in an upset, if you want to call it that, I want to take Downs in this one 120 to 115.3.
Look at the team. Honestly, I see it coming down to Monday night. I see the running backs. I mean, Patrol definitely wins the running backs. Ingram, he will get his yards, but I think Le'Veon is the one that's going to really have to carry it, and he's going to maybe come below McCaffrey. Running backs, definitely Patrol. Receivers are going to be kind of a balance. Tight end easily goes to Kittle. The flex. That's what kind of decides this matchup, in my opinion. That's gonna be an iffy one. What are they gonna do with Henry? I'm still gonna be not biased. I'm gonna stay 118 to a 115 point for Patrol winning this.
Wow, that's a great unbiased pick.
On the Hawk. So that's our picks for the matchups. And now, what we're going to swing to, which we'll do each week as well, along with the matchups, is going to be the boom or bust segment. This is going to be each of us will pick one player. That's a boom. That means they're going off. Another player, that's a bust. It's just going to be overall. It's not going to be from each matchup.
And we're not doing it. We're not going to be picking top players for this because obviously Saquon is going to probably boom each week. And
right.
We're not going to pick AB because he's probably going to bust. He's not actually going to be playing this week, Charlotte Rupp. But, Mike, what's our sponsor for Boomer Bust?
It's Duracell. Those are high-power batteries that never run out. Keep your stuff plugged into the Duracell. We're still looking for a better sponsor for them, but Duracell, what can Brown do for you? So I will start with my first And my only boom player of the week. Like we said, it's not your obvious boom players. It's not your Zach Ertz every single week is probably going to boom.
Good example.
This player is not in a starting lineup, but I think he will boom. So if you listen to this before he plays, maybe insert him into your starting lineup. It's Will Fuller.
Yes.
V. I think that's the fit. That's
It
a lot of
is.
Will
It is.
Fullers. In
That's
that.
a lot.
He's at New Orleans. It's in a dome.
What
This
team
guy
has
is
him?
coming off of a torn ACL. He is on the one and only Poe Top Colin Bottom, who, let's switch up the name. It's getting kind of plain. I think
Plain Jane?
Will Fuller V goes off for 11 catches, 162 yards, and a score.
Oh, that's pretty. I like that.
All right.
This is we're both here at the Hawk.
At the Hawk.
Memorial, would you like to go next? Or you want me to
I
take
got
it?
mine, and here's my thing too. I'm gonna kind of go on what Mike said. It's not a starting lineup once again, and he plays for the same team. So, and I'm playing him, so I really hope that this podcast is a long time to post once we post it.
Not
Duke
biased.
Johnson Jr.
Ooh.
Big fan of him. I think Holliside kind of sucks at football, so I think that Duke's gonna probably play a lot. And like I said, the over/under at Vegas, shout out myvegas.com. It's pretty high in this game. I just think that naturally, I think Duke's gonna probably score a bunch of touchdowns. Maybe not a bunch, but a couple. I think Duke's kind of an underrated player in the league. So I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking, because he's kind of more of a receiver too. I'm gonna say 180 total yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing.
Wow.
Boom.
Boom.
All
The
right.
boom player of the week. Explosion.
I have. Can I pick 2 players?
No.
No, only one.
Oh, I only get one.
Not biased here on the Hawk either.
The guy I see him being a major bust, although I don't.
No, you need a boom.
No, I want.
He's starting the bus, which is fine.
I guess we go in any order.
All
You're
right.
at the Hawk.
The
There's
guy-
no rules on the Hawk.
The guy I see as a bust. I love their defense he's going against. Damian Williams. I know he's the flex play, but that Jacksonville defense, they're going to lock him down. I'd be very surprised if he goes over 50 yards against that defense. They will rotate backs. Damian Williams, bust.
Now, who's your boom player for the week?
My boom player, I'm a little caught on this. I wanted to go with Juju, but I think his name is too big to put him in that spot. I'm going to go with Jacobs against Denver. I really see him bringing it. I see him going for about 120 yards, probably a touchdown, couple catches. He's going to be a lockdown player this year, potentially.
Watching a lot of film on him back in college too.
Great player for Bama.
Explosion.
The explosion.
The one word that comes, explosion.
Not the fastest 40 time, but when he gets that ball, he goes.
He's got a nose for the goal line.
Yeah, I mean, he does. Guy scores. He could be a top player on that team, top Colin Bottom, but we shall see going into this year.
Now, this is my bust player of the week. This might be considered a bold pick. And it comes from Chubb Stiffy Patrol, who's in this player's in his line. I'm going to go with Todd Gurley, because here's my thing with him. I don't think he's fully healthy. And it's based on points projected. He's projected for 17 points, which you think about is probably scoring a touchdown. More than likely, yes.
Yes.
So with a couple catches, maybe a bunch of yards. I just don't think he gets there. I think Kuechly is going to lock that dude down. Overall, I think probably just a pedestrian week. Maybe finds the end zone, but not that many yards. I'm going to say maybe 20. No, not going to say 20. 20 is a little low. I'm going to say 60 total yards. Doesn't find the end zone.
You're putting him at 6 points?
I'm talking about.
He'll have a catch. He'll mix a catch in
Three
there.
catches, though. So he finishes with 9, which is way below his projection.
Okay.
So my bust of the week is in a starting lineup. So potentially adjust that before this podcast, I guess air. Well, it's going to air before.
We don't give advice here because we are unbiased on.
The
The Hawk, 4-3-3.
But it's in Rick Ranger's starting lineup. It's his RB1. It's Nick Chubb against, like I said, I'm high on that Tennessee defense. If they're on waivers, pick them up. I don't like Nick Chubb as much in PPR. I don't think he gets a lot of catches. But I think he's projected right now 17.7. I think he will not find the end zone. I don't think that Cleveland Browns team lives up to the hype, at least after week 1. So I think they kind of put up a dud against Tennessee, led by Nick Chubb. I think he'll put up maybe 6 or 7, a pedestrian 6 or 7. If he does find the end zone, that gives him closer to
And
his
it's just the projections. I think Chubb's in like that 17 to 18 range for projection.
Right. So if he goes, under 10, I think that's a bust week for him, and I think that's what's going to happen for Nick Chubb in the Rick Rangers lineup. Potentially, maybe move him to the bench. Not, like we said, we're unbiased here at The Hawk, but a couple of suggestions on that.
Yep, I would agree.
I think overall, I think it's time to wrap up the podcast with a little bit of music and maybe a little bit of playing our sponsors.
Well, so I was going to say that wraps up the Boomer Bust segment. Now, what we're going to do each week is those two matchups of the week, keys to the week, and the Boomer Bust players. We are very open to people calling in. We'll have a chat with you over the phone. It's definitely doable. Me and Ben have ran a podcast for a number of years now. So we'll leave you guys with this. If you do have suggestions, we probably won't listen to them. We don't really care. But we do want someone to call in from the league each week. If you have, it can even be half an hour because we just want to run through the matchups with you.
Maybe get your input on Boomer Bust. We do like having,
We'll get your input, but we're not letting you partake.
I have a few celebrities on the podcast too. Maybe add a few family members too.
And then we're also going to, at the end of the podcast, if anyone writes in, if they have any complaints to the commissioner, we do have some good pull with him. So we'll put in a word. We don't really have any complaints right now.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. I just want to know, where is my injured spot on the bench? That is all. I thought it was cleared, but I'm just wondering if an injury happens. For instance, AJ Green is injured. Where's that spot at? Other than that, Commissioner, you're doing a great job.
I like that. Kind of like an IR spot in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe you can even stash from there for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Other than that, I gotta be happy with the commish. He's doing a great job. He puts a lot together, spends some time on it.
Yeah.
Shout out the commish.
And before we leave, we're each gonna just pick our champion, and we'll leave you guys with kind of,
Is it champion not?
It cannot be us.
Oh, okay.
Because we're unbiased here.
Yes.
At the Hawk.
At the Hawk. So I think I'll start with my champion overall. It's tough to say because I'm really high on Schrute Farms. This guy is great. But I'll keep it in the house, in the podcast. I think Andrew Luck Memorial, just because I was trying to draft most of his players, and he outbid me by 1 or 2 almost. So I feel I did pick a majority of his team. I like his chances going into the year. He did open as a favorite in Vegas in our league. So we'll go Andrew Luck. MyVegas.com. What can $5 do for you? I'll go Andrew Luck Memorial for my champion.
I know it's a legit pick. You want to know why? Because you're unbiased. You're at
the Hawk.
Shrubs, what do you think?
Well, that took my spotlight because I had 2 contenders that I thought could really win it. I really got to go with, sadly, Andrew Luck Memorial. I think he has a good squad if those players stay healthy. If those players stay healthy as top 3, he wins the league. Definitely has some players he could ship if he wants to get extra players to just add a little depth. But overall, I'm going to go with Andrew Luck Memorial.
Wow. I feel very humbled by all this. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Especially as an entrepreneur.
As an entrepreneur, I'm very happy with that. My pick for this year, and this is going to be kind of, I don't know if it's like a bold pick or anything. I'm going to go with, because I think Dalvin's going to stay healthy, I'm going to go with pump and dump this year.
That was my second pick, and you know what? Honestly, good squad.
It's a great squad, but here's the thing: it's so hard, it's so tough to pick a champion because it's at the end of the year. My dude, Pump and Dump seems to blow it every single year. It seems like, but you know what? He always gets the touchdowns. Always seems to trade him some great player, and you know what? I think it
seems like the luck follows that team.
The luck just follows him.
Teams trade him, and he usually comes out on top on those.
And who do you think he's going to trade with? If anybody, to solidify that championship.
Okay, like I said, the touchdowns. I think he makes a trade with Schrute Farms.
What about Antonio Brown? Do you think he might take a player off that team?
I think Antonio. And here's my thing: Antonio Brown, I don't think will play this year. I think that could play into whether or not my dog Antonio Brown is a clown. Shout out Ruff.
That's the team I was thinking. Do you think he'll get a trade with that?
No, because I think that whoever he trades for will get hurt anyway. But Pump and Dump's my pick to win it all this year. Again, unbiased. You're at the Hawk. Do we have anything else we want to plug, guys?
I think we're going to wrap up there. What we're going to do, like I said, we'll go through this kind of format each week. We'll try to potentially get it out by Saturday each week. So we could maybe do it before the Thursday night games. That's going to be tight with some of our schedules here.
We appreciate callers.
We do appreciate callers. So hit our line at 4333 The Hawk. If you're interested in, we could do a call-in next week. I think if technology allows, we'll make that happen.
Absolutely.
Other than that, we do hope you subscribe. Find us on iTunes.
Spotify, and and Mixer, too.
And Mike, what's your site that you have your account at?
My account has been deactivated, so you will not find it there anymore. But other than that, we're going to wrap up. We'll leave you with one thought from each of us going into the games on Sunday.
And the year in general, since it is the first podcast of the year. Chubb, start it off.
Well, overall, I think your top tier players got to play well if you want to have a chance to win. Some iffy teams in there, hopefully they can perform. Good luck, teams.
Yeah, I want to wish everyone good luck. Fantasy football's fun, but I'm coming out for blood this year. So I'm no mercy whatsoever. I will call you out in the chat. I will call you out on this podcast, too. So good luck to everybody.
We don't hold anything back on this podcast. I'm going to leave our viewers, our listeners, wherever you're listening from, with some deep thinking here. I don't think fantasy football is all skill. But if you do happen to be a good team, you do have some skill in it. I would say, at the end of the day, it is luck. Remember that. We are going to tear your teams apart, though. Talk a little smack here.
As we do during the season.
But remember, it is luck.
Yeah, a little bit of thick skin, Gotta have some thick skin. I'm like an AB,
Right. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. 4333
The Hawk.
If that didn't...
it
That's a good segment.